Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome back to my channel. For a while, I've been really wanting to film a lot more minimalism related videos because you guys really do seem to enjoy them. This is a video that I've been really wanting to film for a really long time. I sat down, I typed some stuff into my phone as a note about things that I wanted to say, and here we are, I'm finally sitting down and I'm filming this. Sometimes I put off these videos for a while because I'm like intimidated by them. I'm a little scared that I'll forget to say something, but I have it written down, so I'm gonna do this. So this video is about how minimalism has affected my social media usage. I've never been a huge social media person. I felt a lot of pressure to be a big social media user when I started my YouTube channel because it seemed like all the big YouTubers had every single type of social media and that is how they were promoting their videos. So I always thought, oh, I have to do that too. I have to have thousands of followers on Instagram and Twitter. And then they were all using Snapchat and doing the Snapchat stories. And I was like, I have to like always be updating my Snapchat and everything. Oh my gosh. And it was just getting really, really out of hand and kind of stressing me out, honestly. So when minimalism came into my life, I really began reevaluating how I was using social media because there's something wrong with social media. Social media is a tool and it can be used for really amazing things. I mean, the internet is amazing because we can meet people online and create this amazing community and share similarities and interests, and it's really wonderful, but at the same time it can get, I don't like to use the word toxic, but it can be a very toxic place to spend too much time on, and especially over the past year with everything happening in politics, it was getting, for me, very detrimental to my mental health to be spending as much time as I was on social media. So I'm kind of going to go through every like social media kind of outlet and tell you how minimalism has changed how I use those things. So the social media tools that I have accounts for are obviously YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and Pinterest and Tumblr. So it's a lot. Listing it out, it's really crazy. Pinterest hasn't really changed. I have never felt that I have abused Pinterest. Yeah, I'll get sucked in, I'll be scrolling for a while, and it does take up a lot of my time, but the inspiration that I get from that time is really valuable to me. I have a lot of fun. I feel like I have taken a lot of what I've seen on Pinterest and incorporated it into my life, and it is definitely not something I check all the time. It's not something that I feel like if I don't check, I'm missing out on something. It's just, I don't know, it's a tool that I believe I use the right way. Tumblr, back in college is when I started my Tumblr in 2011, I think, and I used it a lot and I would scroll and scroll and scroll, but before minimalism, I wasn't really on Tumblr as much anymore. So while I still have the account and sometimes I will scroll through my dashboard for a little bit, I don't feel like I have to go on and on and on. I can stop after a healthy amount of time. And again, I don't feel like I have to check it all the time. I'm just not on Tumblr as much anymore, but I just keep it because there are some things I like to reference, and sometimes it's just fun. It's like a fun way to spend my time. And then the only way that minimalism has changed my YouTube usage is the difference in content that I make. Ever since I became a minimalist and started exploring this lifestyle, I have started talking about it on my YouTube channel. So hasn't really changed the amount of videos I post or anything like that. It's just my content. What it has changed are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Let's start with Twitter. So before minimalism, I didn't really tweet very much to begin with. I didn't really understand Twitter. I had one for, I don't know, 6-7 years or something and didn't really use it. But actually when I started my minimalism journey, I did think I started tweeting a little bit more and just trying to figure it out a little bit more. But before becoming a minimalist, or maybe even it was just at the very start of my minimalism journey, I would say that I engaged in some political Twitter wars and it was not so healthy for me. Looking back, I like to think that I won them, but at what cost? Like, these people, some of these people on Twitter just cannot have meaningful conversations. I think this guy like called me like I don't like this word, but he called me a retard or something. I hate that word. I haven't said it in a really long time. And I'm just like, this is not how adults like debate. And I guess I just had these really high standards for people, and I was getting really angry at how these people were like debating, and it just wasn't nice. I didn't like it. And I didn't like how it made me feel. So I definitely stopped doing that. I kind of just stopped tweeting so much about what was going on in politics. The reason that I had started tweeting about politics was because I didn't want to post anything political on my Facebook, because a lot of my family have very different beliefs than I do and different values. So I just didn't even want to go there, to be honest, and risk my relationship with these people, because I just didn't want to do that. I wasn't one of the people that unfriended a bunch of my family and friends who voted for Trump. I didn't do that. I just took a step back from Facebook, and I'm like, well, at least on Twitter, it's strangers and I don't care who they are, so we can talk about this. But at a certain point, I just had to stop because it was not really good for my mental health. And those strangers on Twitter, they're all shouting as loud as they can into the void of the internet. And I just felt like if I didn't have anything meaningful to add to the conversation, if I didn't have anything to say that hadn't already been said, I just kept quiet, because it's not like I have a huge following on Twitter. I've got like 140 followers or something like that, and I'm sure most of them don't care about politics. They probably followed me because of any number of reasons. I don't know, like, they don't tell you why someone follows you. I kind of wish they did. But yeah, so I was just like, I don't feel like I have to really add anything to this, especially because once you say something, any number of people can start like being really rude and disrespectful to you, and I just didn't really want to open the door to that if I didn't have to. So that's definitely a way that minimalism changed, you know, how I used Twitter, because I didn't want to add to the noise. And that is something that the minimalists say a lot, is don't add to the noise. I've already kind of touched on this, but minimalism made me a lot more aware of how Twitter affected my mood. So I would go and look at what was trending. If it was, especially if it was something political, I would just click on it and look, and I would get angrier and angrier and angrier until it became this outrage that was threatening to explode within me. And I just would feel sick to my stomach and just infuriated. And for what? For what? So I just had to stop. I would flat out, I stopped even clicking on the political things that were trending, and eventually I started clicking on them again, but I noticed as soon as I started to feel the outrage building, I would just click off. I'm like, no, I can't let this get to me as much as it does, because it's not healthy. And then the final thing with Twitter is a place where I don't care how many followers I have, and it's kind of refreshing. I don't have a lot, I already said, and I don't care if I don't get any more. I don't care if I lose Twitter followers. It's really a place where I can post a random thought. I do automatically post my videos on Twitter, like, I don't know, there are a couple people who consistently like my tweets, and that's kind of nice. I've had some lovely conversations with, I believe probably some of you who also follow me on Twitter. I've had lovely conversations with you. I talked to Elle on Twitter. I talked to Jess from Just Because on Twitter. So I do use Twitter as kind of like a little tiny little community where I can talk to some of my internet friends. So that's how I use it now. I also do use it to check the news a little bit. So I do like to look at some of the articles as well, but I am very selective with the articles that I read because I don't want that outrage spiral to begin. All right, Instagram. Instagram is just, it's a whole mess because I have a ton of Instagram accounts with different themes. And I think one of you mentioned that that's not so bad, you know, because people will follow an Instagram account for a specific purpose. They want it to be a bookstagram and that is it, or they want it to be a fitstagram and that is it. And as soon as you post something that is not in that theme, they will unfollow you. And so I have a fitstagram, I have a bookstagram, I have my HeatherStylesLife Instagram, which I thought would kind of connect to what I do on this channel, but lately I've just been like, no, I'm done. I can't have a theme. I'm tired of it. If you don't want to follow what I post, then don't, or if you don't care about what I post, then don't follow me. I don't care. I don't care how many followers I have on Instagram at all. I don't think I want to be a YouTuber who has to like have sponsored posts. Like I just have no interest in that. If you want to do that, that's great. That's absolutely great. Have at it. It's an extra stream of income, is that what I mean to say? But that's nice. Like if you want to have a sponsored post, it's great. But I don't really want the responsibility, honestly. So now I do have my private Instagram that I really, if I don't want the whole world to see. I just want a very select few of people I know in person to see. I post it to that. But now I'm just like, if I want to share my life with the 260 mostly strangers that follow that account, then I will. I kind of care if the picture looks pretty. I want more people to like it, but I don't base my self-worth on how many likes I get or how many, not subscribers, followers I get on Instagram. I just don't care anymore. I still have my Instagram as a way to motivate me to take more pictures and to try and improve my photo taking a little bit. And I do have fun with editing the photo and all of that, but there's really no pressure on it for me. I mainly, when it comes to the numbers, I do care more about the numbers with my YouTube channel. I wish I didn't care about the numbers, but I do. It's hard to not care about the numbers, but with Instagram, I don't. The other thing is, the way I used to use Instagram is I would scroll through my feed and I felt like I had to, I know this is crazy, I felt like I had to like every single picture, because what I would do is use that as a bookmark. Obviously, this was when the feed was chronological, which, why did they change that? Like, why is it not chronological? I don't understand the purpose. I don't get it. And it just is so annoying to me, but that's a whole other thing. But what I would do is I felt like I had to see every single post in my feed, and I would know I saw it if there was the heart. Okay, this is so crazy and like weird. So if I missed a day or so of not checking my Instagram, I would get stressed out because I'm like, well, I didn't see them all, and I would scroll, and I would like. I have had the notification from Instagram saying you are not allowed to like any more posts for like this amount of time because we think you're a robot. Like, I got that message on multiple occasions and it was stressful. And I was like, why bother? And so I just really stopped checking my Instagram. I stopped posting for a long time. And it was just a really, really nice break. And now, so I came back to Instagram and I noticed that the feed wasn't even chronological anymore. So I don't even care if I miss people's posts, because I'm like, I'll look through my feed and then all of a sudden, like, it's in a different order, and I'll be looking at a post from like January 1st, and then it's a post from like December 23rd, and then a post from January 14th. I'm like, what is this? This doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't like scroll through my feed nearly as much as I used to, because it just frustrates me. And the advertisements are insane. Like, there are a ton of advertisements, and sometimes they do a good job. Instagram advertisements are pretty good about not making them look like advertisements. I've been tricked a couple of times into like liking an advertisement because I thought it was, oh, that's a pretty picture, like, and then I'm like, oh wait, that was a sponsored post by someone I don't follow. But yeah, so, and also I have looked at some of the advertisements and been like, I feel like that might add value to my life. Like, there was an app that I thought might add value to my life. So I downloaded it and I tried it out, and it won't add value to my life. So I'm not gonna be using it anymore. But yeah, so I don't hate the advertisements on Instagram, but I'm just generally not a fan of advertisements in general. So it does help me to kind of like stay away from my feed, because I just know it's gonna bother me. The other way that minimalism has changed how I use Instagram is I went through and I unfollowed a bunch of accounts that I was looking at their pictures and I'm like, I'm not inspired by these pictures. I don't care. So I unfollowed them, and then anyone I know in person, or the majority of people I know in person, I unfollowed them from my like main account that I use, HeatherStylesLife, and I followed them from my private Instagram to curate my feeds, my different feeds a lot better. So like when I'm on my private Instagram, my feed is only people I know in person, and then my HeatherStylesLife feed it's like the main feed. It is the YouTubers that I really, really like, and I like the pictures that they post, like Estee Lalonde, Ingrid Nilsson, Zoella, Tanya Burr, like those are just a few. I like the pictures that they post, and I like to have them all like in one feed. It just makes sense for my brain. So that is the final change that I made with my Instagram use. All right, let's talk about Snapchat. So similar to how I would get that like FOMO if I didn't check my Instagram feed, I got the same FOMO if I didn't check every single person's Instagram story, not Instagram story. I don't even care about Instagram stories, probably because of how my Snapchat usage has changed. But when Snapchat was the main place where people would post their stories, like before Instagram stories, before Facebook stories, which I don't know how to use that anyway, I felt like I had to check everyone's story and watch it. And I wasted so much time, and if a story expired before I got to watch it, I would get like, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm missing out. What if there's a giveaway? Blah, 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 blah. Like, what if I don't know what's going on in Ingrid's life? Like, I have to know. What if I meet her one day and I didn't know what she was doing that one day? Like, looking back, I'm like, what was I afraid of? What was I afraid of? So the stress was just out of control and not healthy. So I definitely stopped checking everyone's stories, and I stopped for a while. I just let myself stop watching it. And along with that, I stopped snapping as much. I think for a while I just didn't post anything to my story. I used to post every single day. I felt like I had to, and I snapped so much. And it got to the point where once I started hearing from the minimalists about not adding to the noise, I think that really affected me. And like I said with Twitter, if I don't have anything meaningful to add, then I'm not gonna add it. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna snap a story about what I'm having for breakfast. Like, does that really matter? Unless it's part of me talking about, this is like, maybe I'm trying to eat healthier, and maybe if I want to inspire someone with a different breakfast idea or something, but I don't like. Anyway, so I stopped snapping nearly as much, and I also felt like, oh, I want to update people on my life or something, and maybe I don't want to post something to Facebook. But at the same time, I also started to become more of a private person, which I know my husband's not gonna watch this, but if he did, he would laugh, because I'm the type of person who feels like they have to tell someone everything. And usually it's my husband, I tell him everything. But also, like, I wanna tell my best friend Rachel everything. So it's usually a couple people, like I wanna just share my life or something. But my friend Rachel deleted her Snapchat because of minimalism, and she mainly just uses Instagram now. And so that is primarily, if I don't like just want to text her, but I want to share like a picture or something, I'll post it to Instagram, and I know that she's gonna see it there. So Snapchat for me, I just took a huge step back from that social media because of all the stress it was causing me, and just the amount of time I was wasting on it, and the amount of time I was wasting of the people who are watching my super boring stories. So I have not deleted my Snapchat, and that is because there are some people who I do communicate primarily through Snapchat, with whom I communicate primarily through Snapchat, just a couple of people. And we do have other means of communication, but it just seems like Snapchat is what they prefer. So I keep that. And then also whenever the mom of the kids that I nanny is out of town, I will send snaps of her kids. If they're doing something funny or cute or something, I'll snap the kids and send it to their mom, just, you know, like, because she misses them when she's gone. So I use that. And then also I do really appreciate the memories feature, because it's kind of a way to store pictures or like videos that I think are really funny or cute. Not on my phone storage, it's like in Snapchat storage, which is kind of cool. And I do go back periodically and look at some of those videos, and I still crack up to a lot of them. And then the final thing that I wanted to mention is, ever since like Instagram stories became a thing, I feel like so many of the people who snap stories I felt like I had to watch, they all moved on to Instagram stories, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna start. Like, I'm not opening that Pandora's box with Instagram stories. So that helped me so much with stepping back from Snapchat, because the temptation just wasn't even really there anymore. Everyone's using Instagram stories, which I hadn't been in the habit of checking, so I didn't start the habit of checking it. The final social media that I wanted to touch on is Facebook. I feel like Facebook, I believe I made the most amount of changes in my usage of Facebook compared to the other social media things that I was talking about in this whole video. So I started off by unfriending a ton of people. I don't remember how many friends I had. It was like 300 and something, I don't know. And I know that's not a lot, and it's because I periodically would unfriend a few people here and a few people there, and I was always pretty selective about who I friended in the first place. Because I just had issues with people being weird on Facebook. So I was always really selective anyway. So what I did is I unfriended as many people as I possibly could who if I didn't care about checking up on them at all, if I didn't care about them getting married or having babies or whatever, I unfriended them. Because of somewhere, probably from the Minimalist, I heard that you can only really keep track of about 200 people in your brain. So I don't know where the evidence to that is. If that's complete hooey, whatever, let me know. But 200 is the magic number. So I wanted to keep my list of friends to under 200. So I think I got it to like 190 or something. And the reason I didn't want to delete even more people is because every time I'm in a play, you typically get more friends because everyone who's in the play all friends each other. And I've been in a lot of plays, so I did keep a lot of those people because it's like kind of for networking. If I'm ever in that town again doing theater again, I do like to have that network of actors. Acting is eventually what I want to do, so I think having a network of actors is a good idea, and theater people, it's a good idea. So I didn't really delete any of those people. And now I think I have hit 200 friends, and it's probably gonna get a little bit above 200 because I was at like 198 or something when people in the play started friending me. So now it's at 200. It's probably gonna go up a little bit. So that's okay, because it's for networking purposes. It's for promotion of the play, that kind of thing. So, and that's okay. But yeah, that was the first thing that I did when I took minimalism and applied it to social media, to my Facebook. The second thing I did with Facebook is I unfollowed everybody. Everybody. The great thing about Facebook is that your newsfeed is completely personalizable, customizable, whatever I'm saying. I wanted to have no newsfeed. I wanted nothing, because I would waste so much time sitting on Facebook and scrolling through my newsfeed, and it would go from like cute puppies to tragedies to political things infuriating me. And I've talked about the whole outrage spiral thing at the beginning of this video. And so that would it was an emotional roller coaster. I would go from that thing that made me outraged to some news article about some little boy who died of like child abuse or something, and I would cry and cry and cry, and then the next thing would be like a cute puppy video, and I just felt so exhausted from all of the feels, okay? So yeah, like I unfollowed everyone, and I felt like I wouldn't get that FOMO because I'm still unfollowing someone doesn't unfriend you. You're still friends. So if you were like, I wonder what's happening with that random friend in college, or I wonder what's happening with that person I was in a play with, I can go to their Facebook and look at what they've been posting recently. And it also really helped because, like I did mention, my family and I are very different. We have different political beliefs. So like my mom, I can't unfriend my mom from Facebook. I'm sure some of you could argue, yes, you could, it's not the end of the world, but I don't want to because I don't live near my mother. I don't live near my family. So I do want to be able to check up on them over Facebook if I don't necessarily have the time to call them. Maybe I just want to see, what have they been posting? Are there any cute pictures of people that I want to see? So I keep that, but as soon as I see something political, I can be like, all right, I'm out of here. Like, I don't want to have any negative feelings right now, like thinking about my family. So it's just great that I could do that. And my newsfeed is basically, I go to my newsfeed, it shows me my memories, like, oh, here are memories from 3 years ago or something. And I can choose whether or not to post that or not. And that's it. Then it's advertisements, which you can't unfollow advertisements. But because I'm not really on my newsfeed, I'm not looking at the advertisements, because why would I just sit there and stare at one box and then another box under it, which is an advertisement. The third thing that I have changed with my Facebook usage is I post very rarely now. Like, I'm talking 4 times or less in a month, because like I've mentioned a little bit earlier, I've become a little bit more of a private person. This is so funny to me, but it's true. I used to feel like I kind of had to post everything. Like, I went to this place, I'm gonna post a picture, blah, blah, blah. But I guess part of it, maybe it is a little bit like narcissistic, but I kind of want people to wonder about me. Is that weird? If someone cares about me enough to wonder what's going on in my life, they shouldn't really have to like know all the details. But if we're close enough that they can call me and get the details, or they can text me and get the details, or follow me on Instagram for a more curated like visual of what's going on in my life, then they can do that. So I just keep my posts to Facebook very, very limited, only the very important things. If I do want a lot more people to know about what's going on, then I'll post something. Or if I want advice on something from a lot of people, then I'll post something. Or if it's just something like I want more of a response, like these videos that I posted recently of Harley at the dog beach, which I'm like, you know what, I'm never gonna post baby pictures or baby videos because I'm not having babies, but I want people to be like, oh my god, your doggy is so cute, and maybe I'm not gonna get that response as much on Instagram, so I want it on Facebook. So it's stuff like that, very, very rare, and I just feel really good about that. I feel like I don't have to check Facebook as much anymore. I turned off my notifications completely. So even when I post something, I have to actually check to see what the response is. I don't just get like the flood of notifications on my phone anymore. So how else do I use Facebook? I still have my Facebook open and not like shut down or deleted or anything, because there are a lot of photos on Facebook that I would have to go through and save them to my computer, and I just don't really want to bother doing that. So I like to be able to have access to those photos in case I want them for any sort of reason, or if I just want to look through them, because I've been on Facebook for many, many years and there are really old pictures like from high school and everything that I just want to be able to have access to. Finally, I still use Facebook for Facebook groups. I didn't really used to be involved in Facebook groups, but lately I have been more involved in them. For example, Elle's group, if you know LS here on YouTube, she has a project panning group. I think it's called the Pan Fam, and it's open to anyone. You can just request to be involved in the group if you're interested in project panning, and she'll accept your request. And it's just a place for people to talk about project panning, to talk about makeup and everything. So I'm involved in that. I don't post on it too much because I like to be intentional about it, but whenever I feel like posting something to it, I can. Or I can support other people who are project panning. Another group I am recently in is San Diego and Nanny Connection, because when I became a nanny in San Diego, I wanted to kind of network with other nannies. Nannying is kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like that word where it's a career where you're kind of alone, like you don't have you're not working with other people. Oh my God, this is gonna bother me. I wanted to have a group of nannies that I could talk to if I had any questions. There really is, I'm sure there is nanny training, but I've never been trained as a nanny, and sometimes I'll wonder about something and I will post on that group and be like, what, do you guys have any advice for me? What should I do in this situation? And because there are so many other people in the same boat, you just get a lot of really great information. So I appreciate that. I'm part of the minimalist.org Facebook group. So hopefully they'll post a meetup pretty soon, because I have really wanted to talk to some fellow minimalists in person about our journey, and I just think that'd be really cool. So yeah, there are just some groups that I'm involved in on Facebook that I will check on periodically. Again, I don't have notifications, so I have to be really intentional about it. Yeah, that's how I use Facebook now. This has been a really long video and I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below telling me if minimalism has affected your social media usage and how and why. Are you a big social media user? Do you feel like maybe you're addicted to social media, or do you feel like you've always been very intentional about your social media usage? Which I think that's awesome if you are. And I don't know, I just want to talk to people about this because I just think it's a really fascinating subject in the time that we live in right now, where so many people have internet access in the Western world, I should specify, that I feel like a lot of people in this generation, and not even just this generation, like my grandma is always on Facebook and Instagram. So a lot of people have this internet world that they live in. So what do you guys think about social media? And yeah. Subscribe to my channel for more minimalism related videos, because I plan on posting quite a lot in the future. So stay up to date on that. I don't know why I just talked like that. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video.